Welcome back, Reptile fam. As you can see, it's getting cold here in Washington. Back to the hoodies. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a great day. If you guys are new here or seasoned veterans and you guys haven't subscribed, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It's a funny thing. I watch my analytics. Only about 30% of you guys are actually subscribed, even though you guys watch my videos. It would just help me out and help me get my message out. So today I'm going to do something. I've had this question a lot. People ask me, what makes more money, breeding rats or breeding reptiles, mainly ball pythons? Even though it might be different for you, I want to tell you what makes me more money here in Washington, at least as of now. And we're going to talk about it right after this. All right, guys, well, welcome back. I'm not saying this is going to work for you because it might be different where you live. It might be different in situations. But here in Washington, I'm going to tell you how it worked for me and what's made me more money thus far. So let's get at how I started breeding rats. So I started breeding rats as not really a hobby, but I wanted to breed rats because if you guys have any amount of ball pythons or reptiles that eat mice or rats, it gets really expensive. So I was trying to cut some cost. So my first idea was to start breeding some rats. I went to Ellensburg, which is about 20 minutes away from here. Unannounced to me that there actually was a guy here that sold them, but I went to there and I bought some normal rats. I bought 10 of them. So all my collection started from 10 rats. My goal was just to actually make some babies and actually feed some of my hatchlings because it was costing a lot of money. If you guys start getting past 20, 30 snakes and start breeding snakes and having hatchlings you get to feed, it gets really expensive really fast if you start buying all those frozen. So my goal was to actually just cut out half of the cost. I'd make the babies and feed them to my hatchlings and have a few here. If they got big enough, I'd feed them to my bigger ball pythons. That was my first goal. I started breeding them a little bit. You know, I had a couple racks and it was saving money. I went to some shows and I had some guys saying, man, I really wish I could find someone that would breed rats for me. And I was like, well, you know, I could probably do that. And I give the guy my card and I talked to him and I started breeding rats for this guy. Then he told his friend that I bred rats and I started breeding rats for him. Then I also went to a couple more shows and another guy asked me to be breed rats for him. So I started breeding lots of rats. Next thing you know, I'm trying to pump out 300 to 500 a week. And that was getting to be, you know, a lot of rats, a lot of things. Pretty much took up my whole garage. So I had a garage. I had to actually do some things. I had to get some different stuff to make them not stink. I was trying to find ways to cut food costs, a lot of things just to make it more effective. I even had to install a venting system and a way to blow out all the time in my garage. But it was doing really well. I was making pretty good money. And I mean, honestly, really good money. It was kind of wearing on my car because my truck, because I was driving it around all the place, but it was making decent money. And then the pandemic hit and people were afraid to do anything. I think everybody was kind of scared at the time. It was a scary time and no one knew how to take it. So they were all kind of like closing doors and staying away from people. And so people weren't calling me about the rats. The people that I was breeding them for stopped talking to me. They eventually did call me again, but everybody was just scared and it kind of made everybody shut off and closed. And he didn't ask me for a while. So I kind of slowed down on my production, fed a bunch off to my snakes. And then I just kind of stopped. And you know, honestly, the main reason why I stopped is because, well, no one was buying from me, but they started calling me back again later on. I'll be honest with you guys, there is a lot of work when it comes to breeding rats. There's lots of money, but lots of work. I mean, honestly, I was spending a lot of my free time cleaning up tubs because you got to pull those tubs out. You got to clean them, you got to scour them, you got to put, disinfectant on them, you get that smell out and then change it. And you have to change the bedding about every 5 to 6 days. If you go 7, even if you use the right stuff, it will start stinking. That's with normal rats. So it's a lot of work, guys. I mean, it really is. And I had my wife helping me, my kids helping me, and it was really taxing on me. The problem is I had no free time. I like to go to Vegas. I like to go to Mexico. Those are my two favorite places we go a lot. I like to go to movies. I like to go go gambling. I like to do fun stuff. And that was really cutting into it. And it was getting taxing. Honestly, if you guys have a big rat breeding business, you might have to eventually quit your job. because there's a lot of money into it, but it actually becomes a full-time thing. Now, if I was doing it full-time, I'd probably spend 5 to 6 hours a day on it, and then I'd have my free time like I would. But right now I'm doing 2 jobs. And honestly, guys, I think with rat breeding and also my reptiles, I could definitely retire from my work, but I do like where I work. I like having a steady check, a great health insurance, and also just the security of knowing that the field I'm in is always going to be there. With rats, I mean, I was getting weekly checks. It was really great. But I mean, you never know if these people might go out of business. They might stop breeding ball pythons. It's something that's kind of not secure in my mind as knowing the job I work at right now. So that's how I started breeding rats and making decent money. Honestly, last year I made probably $20,000 to $22,000 breeding rats. That's a lot of money. That's even after cost. It was actually really lucrative. Rats are expensive. Honestly, I don't know if you guys ever priced frozen rats. If you guys do it big time, it's really expensive. They will give you bulk discount. That's what I was honestly doing. I was giving them bulk discount as live, because live is so much easier to feed than frozen. When you have 10, 15 snakes, and shaking it in front of them is not that hard. But when you have 60 to 70 snakes and you're trying to do it to all of them, it takes a long time. Where with live, you throw them in there, you come back in a half hour. If they haven't eaten it, you take it, put it back in the racking system, back in your rat rack. But if you're trying to feed them all, you're just gonna dangle them, and you gotta dip it in hot water, make sure it's hot, and get them to take it. So that's the reason why I went to live. Now on the ball python end, ball pythons, the way it works is I grabbed 2 ball pythons. My daughter wanted a pet, so I got one. I really only owned hognose and a few colubrids before that, and I got them. And next thing you know, I really liked them, and I started buying more and breeding them. Now, ball pythons, there is 2 kinds of people, 2 kinds of, I guess, breeders in ball python world. You have the ones like me who breed them for pets. So you make pet grade snakes. What I mean by pet grade snakes is pet owners can actually afford them. I'm breeding snakes that are about $2,000 down to, or less. Where people like Justin Kaboka and Billy Rose are breeding these snakes at $10,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. Honestly, most pet owners will never buy one like that. I mean, unless this person's got a lot of disposable income, they're gonna buy a $1,200 snake or a $500 snake or a $300 snake. And so there's 2 kinds of breeders. Like I said, there's the ones that do the high-end snakes. These guys made a name for themselves. They climbed from the bottom to the top, and now they're king of the world in the ball python world, and they sell their snakes to other people that are breeding them. So they're way ahead of the game when they're breeding their snakes. Me, I try to keep my snakes in about $2,500 range on down for people at shows to buy them. I try to make the coolest looking snakes I can for that price to make people excited about them and want to buy them. Honestly, if you're looking for a business to grow fast, rats are going to make you a lot more money right away. Honestly, I've made more money breeding rats that year than I have any year breeding reptiles. Now, I'll say this though, that the work that I did for the rats totally outweighs the work I did for the snakes. Now, the snakes, I mean, honestly, it's probably 1% of the time of about the 99% of the time that I spent on the rats. I mean, honestly, there's little work on ball pythons. You feed them, you clean them, and you just take care of them, and you breed them and put them in different things and do a couple of things. But rats are constant work. But honestly, if you're looking for fast money, rats are the way to go. If you're looking for, it just depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for to retire from your job and do this full time, maybe a mesh of both would be really nice. But honestly, if you're gonna really get into making money with rats, it's gonna be really hard for you to actually have a 9-to-5 job. You have to do this pretty much full time, where ball pythons are a great business that you have to grow up slowly. You can start making money the first year, you can make money the second year, you can make money the third year. But it's something it's gonna take time, and that's pretty much what you're giving into it when you're doing ball pythons is time. Because not everybody can spend all this money on ball pythons. Me, honestly, I make really good money, but what I told us before in other videos is that just because you make a decent amount of money don't mean that you have a lot of disposable income, because the way it works is people that make more money have a more luxurious life and they spend that money on that. I'm not saying I don't put money in my savings and I have money in my savings, I do, but I mean, we go to trips and do things to spend more money. Our disposable income is probably the same or more than most people, but I don't have tons of it just to go buy a bunch of snakes. So I have to grow my snakes up and breed them to make them the ones I desire and I want people to desire. So honestly, guys, I made more money from rats than I have ball pythons, but ball pythons is less work. It's something I can do and work at my job easily and take care of them and enjoy them. And you know, you're pretty much just time. That's what it is. You're giving, you know, some time and waiting for them to grow every year and breed every year. Rats breed constantly. I mean, they're always having babies. Always had babies in the tubs. Where, you know, ball pythons, I breed them once a year. You have to breed them, wait for them to lay eggs, incubate the eggs, you know, then actually feed the hatchlings to a point where they're ready to go. Then you sell them at a show or online. So it's a lot more time invested, where rats, I mean, they breed like rats or rabbits, we want to say. They always breed and you always have something to sell, and right away. It's a lot less money to get into breeding rats. The cost is very minimal compared to ball pythons. Ball pythons, the racks are expensive, the snakes are expensive. Everything's expensive with ball pythons, where rats, everything's pretty cheap. I mean, honestly, you can have a nice rat breeding business for $1,000 or less, where you wouldn't have much to say for, I mean, much to show for, if you are starting a ball python business. So I'm trying to help you guys out. I had this question, that's being honest as possible, is that they both make money, and if you did a mesh of both, you can actually make pretty good money. Also, African softwares, I do breed them and I do sell them, but I'm mostly breeding them for my collection right now. I do sell a few here and there. The problem with African softwares is most people that want African softwares from you are going to breed them themselves. They just want to colony so they can start breeding them themselves for their collection. Where people that buy normals, most of them just want to not worry about the hassle of breeding them and having them for their snakes. Normals are more like the big broad choice that everybody expects to have that are breeders, where African softwares are more of like people that are just breeders and they just want to breed something easy and have them for their collection. So normals is the way to go, but they do stink and they're a lot of work and you need a venting system. But if you get all those things, you put, you know, like a building in your backyard or you use your garage, you can make some serious money. Honestly, I mean, I know for a fact I could definitely do this full time and make a pretty darn good living. But it's a lot of work and something I don't enjoy. Where ball pythons, I know I can make a decent living. I could probably actually quit my job, not that I want to, if I really worked at it, but it's going to take time and a lot more effort. Mainly just time. It's honestly what it is, just time. It takes time to get to the place that you want to be. Anyways, guys, hope that helps. If you guys don't mind, check out some of the other videos right here. Also, hit that subscribe button, guys. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being part of my life, being part of my channel. I will see you next time. Peace. I am out of here.